Microsoft Corporation is pulling the plug on LinkedIn in China nearly 7 years after its launch, regarding the retreat of the last major US-owned social network as authorities there further tightened their control over the internet sector. LinkedIn had been the only major Western social media platform operating in China. Hello everyone, welcome to World of China, a channel to explore China. In today's video, we're talking about Microsoft leaving China and LinkedIn getting shut down. To know the why and how of the story, stay tuned and give this video a big thumbs up. In 2014, LinkedIn launched a site in simplified Chinese, the written characters used in the mainland, to expand its reach in the country. It said at the time that its expansion in China raised difficult questions, asking LinkedIn to censor content, but the company promised it would be clear about how it conducts business in China and undertake extensive measures to protect members' rights and data. Microsoft announced Thursday it'll shut down its local version of LinkedIn in China as the country continues to expand its censorship of the internet. Instead, Microsoft will launch a job search site in China that doesn't have LinkedIn's social media features. The news comes after a Chinese internet regulator told LinkedIn in March to better moderate its content and gave it a 30-day deadline, the Wall Street Journal reported Thursday. 7 years on, it has struggled against local competitors and run into regulatory problems. In March, LinkedIn was reportedly punished by the Chinese regulator for failing to censor political content, resulting in a suspension of new user registration for 30 days. Other than the controversy over censorship, the platform has been used by Chinese intelligence agencies as a recruitment tool. LinkedIn was the last major US social network still operating in China, which has some of the strictest censorship rules. Social media platforms and websites like Twitter and Facebook have been blocked for more than a decade in the country, while Google pulled its search engine out of mainland China in 2010 after the government began censoring search results and videos on YouTube. LinkedIn's move in China have been closely watched as a model for how a Western social media app could operate within the country's tightly regulated internet, where many other platforms such as Twitter, Facebook, and Alphabet Inc.'s Google and YouTube are banned. Since the launch of its localized version, LinkedIn has been caught in a crossfire between Chinese government censorship requirements and its users' criticism over its censorship practices. It comes after the career networking site faced questions for blocking the profiles of some journalists. In recent years, LinkedIn has extended its censorship to overseas users' profiles. Since 2019, several overseas journalists, academics, and activists have found their profiles blocked in China. Last month, many US journalists including Bethany Allen Ebrahimian, Melissa Chan, and Greg Bruno found their profiles blocked in the LinkedIn Chinese platform. On the other hand, since 2014, human rights activists, academics, and journalists have slammed companies for censoring content that's sensitive inside China. To satisfy the Chinese government's requirement, LinkedIn users from mainland China have been banned from posting sensitive content like photos, reports, and commentaries about the 1989 Tiananmen massacre. As for overseas users, posts that contained sensitive information would be blocked in the Chinese LinkedIn network. Several scholars this year also reported getting warning letters from LinkedIn that they were sharing prohibited content that would not be made viewable in China but could still be seen by LinkedIn users elsewhere. Tony Lee, a scholar at Berlin's Free University, told the press that in June, LinkedIn didn't tell him which content was prohibited, but said it was tied to the section of his profile where he listed his publications. Among his listed articles was one about the 1989 crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in Beijing's Tiananmen Square and another comparing Chinese leader Xi Jinping with former leader Mao Zedong. Ake Freeman, another scholar who received a censorship warning letter this year, in a text message Thursday said, LinkedIn once served a crucial role as the only social media network on which Chinese and Western colleagues could communicate away from Chinese Communist Party, censorship, and prying eyes. Freeman, a doctoral student in China, studies at Oxford University, said it's shameful that Microsoft spent months censoring its users and worse, pressuring them to self-censor, but that the company ultimately made the right choice to pull the plug. It's hard to pinpoint whether LinkedIn's move was driven by the pressure from China or that from the US. It could be both, as the Chinese government has been tightening its grip over the internet, and meanwhile, LinkedIn has drawn rising criticism in America for kneeling to Beijing's censorship rules. LinkedIn gambled that it could keep everyone happy at the same time. It certainly tried to please Beijing. The company paused new user registrations, after regulators gave it a talking to, and its latest spate of censorship in the West looks like part of its response. According to the Wall Street Journal, LinkedIn received 42 takedown requests from the Chinese government in 2020, of which it compiled with 38. LinkedIn's exit marks this unresolvable tension, one at the heart of its effort to be a platform for expression, not just job-seeking in China. The platform's English announcement cites its commitment to freedom of expression and points to troubles facing a significantly more challenging operating environment and greater compliance requirements in China. By contrast, its equivalent Chinese announcement does not mention those terms at all. LinkedIn users in China are now rapidly exchanging WeChat information to keep in touch, much as Chinese users of Clubhouse did when the writing was on the wall. It has been among the companies hit over the past year by a wide-ranging crackdown by Beijing, which has forced recent curbs on its internet companies on areas from content to customer privacy. The Chinese government has also said it wants platforms to more actively promote core socialist values. In March, LinkedIn paused new signups in China, saying that it was working to be compliant with Chinese laws. 2 months later, it was among 105 apps that were accused by China's top internet regulator of illegally collecting and using personal information, and was ordered to make rectifications. Microsoft also owns Bing, the only major foreign search engine accessible from within China's so-called Great Firewall, whose search results on sensitive topics are censored. China is unlikely to miss LinkedIn much, partly because its hundreds of millions of job seekers have many other options. China's job site market is more bifurcated, with some platforms focusing on nuts and bolts searches. Tencent-backed job board boss Xipin had its IPO on Nasdaq in June, raising nearly $1 billion. And others, like MyMai, focus exclusively on worker gossip. MyMai has broken news about workplace scandals, including death from overwork. Although it has become a victim of a success, both plagued by lawsuits from tech employers, angry at being exposed, and also struggling to monetize its role as quasi-watchdog. Meanwhile, bonafide social organizing is happening off-platform, with users fed up with overwork using Tencent's Documents feature to share schedule details as part of a grassroots working time online movement. LinkedIn never really figured into any of these conversations. But LinkedIn's shutdown in China shows an opposite trend. The country's heavily controlled internet has drifted further away from the rest of the world, and it's increasingly challenging for global businesses operating in China to link the deep divide. Ultimately, the demands of the Chinese state, the generation of competition, and the fast-evolving needs of Chinese web users proved too much for even a power like Microsoft. With LinkedIn gone, the list of major US social networks trying to succeed in China has shrunk to zero. It'll likely be years before another one tries. But LinkedIn is not completely leaving the Chinese market. It'll now offer something called InJobs. LinkedIn said, quote, "While we've found success in helping Chinese members find jobs and economic opportunity, we've not found that same level of success in the more social aspects of sharing and staying informed." LinkedIn will launch a jobs-only version of the site, called InJobs, later this year. But this will not include a social feed or the ability to share or post articles. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, then give this video a big thumbs up and share it. For more exciting videos, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon. I'll be back with another exciting video soon. Till then, check out our channel for more exciting videos and stay tuned.